Hey everybody, Chad here. Another episode of Law of Attraction Secrets. In this episode, we're going to talk about it's our responsibility to bless other people around us. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today in this episode. So, if you like this episode, if you like the series, share it, like it, follow it, and I'll see you inside these videos. But other than that, let's get rocking and rolling. And this is gonna be, by the way, I'm sweaty, so I'm in Thailand. It's hotter than hell. So I got back when I do this video, so I'm sweating to death. But anyway, this talk about it's our responsibility to bless other people is gonna be very unique. It might be a hard concept. This is a hard concept for a lot of people. Recently I've been talking to another person about this concept, and she still just doesn't get it. You know what I mean? So this is a hard concept. Once we kind of get into this, that it's our responsibility to bless other people. So what do I mean by that? It's our responsibility to bless other people, okay? So what I mean is, everything that we're learning about the law of attraction, everything we're learning about everything we've been discussing in this series about knowing what you want, okay, focusing on one thing, setting an intention, okay, believing it's going to come true, acting as if it's going to come true. You have your night routine, morning routine, you have your imagination thinking till the end. You put yourself in that current state, that current feeling of already achieving it, okay? But when we think about the law of attraction, a law of attraction is a piece of law of attraction that's very, very selfish, okay? Because it's only focused on us. Makes sense? It's only about what we want. Our attentions are only about what we want. I mean, we want more money. We want a fancier car. We want a better house. We want a better job, or whatever we want. You know what I mean? But most of it's always self-centered on us. But when you study more spirituality, you study other religions, and even Neville Goddard talks a lot about this in his lectures. I mean, some of his lectures, he brings it up as a snippet, like it's easy to miss because you're listening to him. He talks, sometimes when you listen to his lectures, he talks about a lot of stuff, so it's easy to kind of gloss over and miss. Sometimes he writes about it in his literature. Sometimes there's literature on it just about this topic. That our power, what we have to understand about the law of attraction, setting an intention and focusing on that intention. Hang on, let me close the curtain here. The sun's like glaring in my eyes. And setting that intention, what we have to understand is our power we have is for us, and our power we have is for other people. Makes sense? When we set an intention, we can set an intention that affects us, or we can set an intention for another person. And it works the same way. If I set an intention for another person, I believe it's going to happen for that other person. I imagine it's going to happen for the other person. I imagine end result for that other person, okay? And it works, the law of attraction, it works the same way, okay? A lot of people don't think we have this power, but we do, okay? And, it's when you look at, let's say when you look at religious texts, you look at the Bible, you look at Jesus. Jesus didn't come here, this isn't a religious talk, but Jesus didn't come here to do law of attraction, but that's where it comes from. It's from the Bible. Ask, believe, and receive. There's many things in the New Testament that just brought prosperity to himself. He came here for prosperity for other people. That's why he could heal other people, cast out demons, and so forth for other people. We can do the same thing. It's all over Scripture that we can do the same thing he can do, and even more. Then also, when you go back to, it's more in the Old Testament, it's in the New Testament as well, but more in the Old Testament, that when sons would want their father's blessing over their life, okay, sons would fight over their father's blessing. Makes sense? That's how powerful during that time period blessing someone over their life was. okay? And if sons fought over it, now there's some, I'm going to butcher their story. You know, there's one, I can't even remember their story. I can't remember names, where one son, you know, tricked his father of being the other son because his father was blind, and his father gave the blessing to the wrong son. Then the other son found out, came to the father, and the father said, you know, I'm sorry, but I can't take the blessing back. You know, once I say the blessing, once I speak the words, it sets forth the blessing. It sets forth the incubation period. It sets forth the gestation period. You know, once it's out there, it's out there. Because you have to understand, you know, it's kind of the same principle of law of attraction. If the father really, really, really believes that whatever blessing he has over his son's life, he really believes it's going to come true, once he speaks those words, at that point, it's a lost cause, because once I speak a blessing over your life, I can't take that back. I've already spoken it over your life. So that's how strong the blessings were during that time, okay? Now, let's kind of put it in current scenario, okay? What our responsibility really is, and what we have to understand is that, let's say, you know, I go out and I see a homeless person, okay? It's so easy to see the homeless person in their current state. Makes sense? I see them as homeless. You know, I might talk about it. You know, you talk about it to your friends. Oh, he's homeless, don't have a job, and because I'm seeing in his current state. Okay, but it's our responsibility to bless other people. It's our responsibility to see other people as we would like to see them. So when you see a homeless person, it's better, this takes way more work, okay? It takes some time to train yourself like this, is being able to see them prosperous, being able to see them like gainfully employed, they have a good job, they have a good place to live. Being able to actually see them in that state. You don't see them in the current state, you see them in a state that you want them to be, okay? Now that's for a total stranger. You know, what about family members? What about friends? You know, maybe you have a family member addicted to drugs, okay? But what do? You know, we sit around and talk about how addicted they are. They're never gonna stop. We talk to other family members or friends about it, how I don't know why they're not gonna stop. They're never gonna stop. They've been doing it too long. That's our nature of the conversation. But what we have to understand is that nature of conversation is actually poisoning their life, okay? Because we're talking negativity over their life, okay? What we should be doing is blessing their life, setting that intention, just like we would set intentions for our own life. We would set an intention of them being clean and sober. And in our imagination, we would see them clean and sober. We wouldn't see them in their current state. Make sense? Now, this is a really hard concept, because the reason why it's hard is because we don't really believe that we have influence over people, but we have the power. We have the power within. God is within it. The universe is within us, no matter how we want to talk about it. The Holy Spirit's within us. Okay, the power is within. Okay, we have the power to bring prosperity to our life, but we have the power to bring prosperity to other people's lives as well. It's twofold. It's just not one. It's not me take, but I can't help you out. Okay, I have the power to set intentions for your life. And it's the same thing. You know, the same thing Never Goddard says. You know, if once you commit an intention, you stay committed till the end. You don't give up. Okay, when you set an intention for another person, how you want to see them, you set that intention and you don't give up until you actually see them physically in reality in that state you want to see them. The same thing. We have to understand we have influence over people. Now, we don't control other people. Okay, this is what we have to understand. We don't control other people. We don't control the how. Same way with law of attraction. We don't control the how. We let go and let God. We let God handle the how. We don't control the how. We don't try to manipulate the how, even though it's tempting to manipulate the how. We don't manipulate the how. Okay. But we set the intention. We believe 100% is going to come true. Okay. We do our nightly morning routine, or when we walk through the day, when we do think about them, we think end result how we want to see them. Okay, and an example of maybe they're addicted to alcohol and drugs. We don't think of them in that current state. We think of them being clean and sober. We think of them, when we see them coming to us, having a conversation with us in our imagination, that they're clean and sober. They got their life in order. They have a great job. That's how we see them in our imagination. Make sense? So that's, and it might be easier if you're following this video, following this series, you've been following law of attraction for a long time, it might be easier for you to grasp this concept than maybe other people that is really new. Sometimes people, it's hard for them to grasp this concept that we have influence over other people. We have the power. That's why I'm saying we have the responsibility to bless other people. This is a responsibility that we have, is that even if someone calls, even if you have a friend, I'll give you another example. Even if you have a friend that calls you and says they got marriage issues, relationship issues, and you sit there and talk to them about it forever. I mean, besides going to your other friends, besides going to your other family members and saying, oh, so-and-so has all these issues, family issues, relationship issues, she should do this. Besides doing all that, which poisons her life, which poisons the relationship, once you get off the phone, you set an intention of her having a wonderful relationship. You see it in your mind and your imagination, her and her husband, her or significant other, whoever, have a wonderful relationship, there's no issues, and that's the intention you put out there, and that's what you totally believe what's going to happen, okay? Because another thing we want to talk about, I won't talk about in length, it's really belief, okay? Belief is the core thing. That's one of the things, I'm learning. The more I read like older texts, older law of attractionists, if you want to say that, it really comes down to belief. I mean, if you want to speed everything up, you want to speed up the law of attraction, it's really your core belief. It's really just you 100% believe, you don't doubt, you don't worry, okay? You don't overanalyze and overthink it's going to happen. You just totally believe it's going to happen. You walk away from it, you let go and let God, okay? God controls the how. All you do is set the intention, focus on end result, how it should be, how you want it to be. That's your job. That's my job. That's the only thing I should be doing. But I totally believe it's going to happen. When I set an intention, I totally believe it's going to happen. I don't know necessarily when it's going to happen. I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but that's not my job. Okay, my job is set the intention, and I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to come to pass. I know it. Okay, that's the type of belief you have to have. And it's hard to have that belief. That's why this is a work in progress. You get better at it each time. You don't get perfect at it, but you get better at it each time, where you just totally believe, the power is within you, okay? You totally believe you have the power to do it, but God is inside you, okay? You don't try to manipulate the how, okay? When you set an intention for another person, it's not your responsibility to figure out the how. It's your responsibility, just you're setting the intention. You believe it's going to happen. You have your imagination, thinking end result. That's all you do. You don't control the how, okay? That's the basics to a law of attraction. Some principles are easy, some principles are hard, because it's hard to totally believe. It's hard to totally believe it's going to come true, because we want immediate gratification. Makes sense? And we want it to happen tomorrow. Does it happen tomorrow? Does it happen in 2 days? Well, it doesn't work. It takes a little bit of persistence. It takes a little, that's the hard thing about it. It takes a little bit of persistence. But the more you believe it's true, that's what speeds up the progress. Truly. The more you stop trying to control the how, the more you stop trying to manipulate it to happen, or scheming it to happen, is the faster it's going to happen. And you get better at it over time. The longer you have that attention, it gets easier and easier each day. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic, but anyway, remember, we have the power to bless other people, okay? We can't look at people in their current state. That's the point, okay? If they're struggling, we don't look at them struggling. We don't complain about it and talk about them struggling to other people. We see them, we set an intention that they're not struggling, We set in our imagination that they're not struggling, they're prosperous. That's how we see them in our imagination. And we know for a fact, we know for our core belief that that's what's going to happen. And that brings influence into their life. That brings power of positivity into their life. That's what we have to understand. That's what we have to understand, the power that we have within us. It's not just selfish power about, what does Chad always want? What does Chad? We have the power, we have the responsibility to help other people. We have the responsibility, if somebody's in need, to help them in need, okay? It doesn't mean you're giving them things in need all the time, but we have the power to set the intention for them, and we have influence over them because we're more aware of our power. And I think that's kind of what I want to add in here and either end here, because sometimes when I talk to people, sometimes they say, well, what do you mean, Chad? We have influence over people. We don't have influence over people. We can't control other people. The reason why we don't control them, we don't control the how, okay? But we do have influence, okay? The reason why we have influence is because we are aware of our own power. We're aware of it, okay? Us being aware of it, I'm aware of my power. I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm aware that I can set an intention for their life, a positive intention, and I'm aware that I can totally believe it's going to happen, and I'm aware I can see it in my imagination happening, and I know it's going to happen, okay? That's the type of influence we have because we're aware of our own power. That's why we have influence I have influence over another person that maybe isn't aware of his own power. Then God, okay, let go and let God, he controls the how. You don't control it. So he figures out what's going to happen. He figures out what's going to take place in their life for that to transpire. You don't figure that out. You just have the power of knowing your thought process. You set your intention. You know it's going to happen. You think in result in your imagination. And every time you think about them throughout the day, you think about them in result. You think about them in the state that you want them to be, not in their current state. But anyway, my friends, I kind of over talked this a little bit, explained it different ways, but this is the main thing we got to work on. I mean, when we see somebody, a family member, a friend, maybe even a stranger, we have to get in a habit of seeing them in the state that we want to see them, and we have to know that we have the power to change that. Okay, we have the power to change that state for them. We have the power to help them change that state. We have to understand that. We're not controlling by force for them to change, but we're changing it by more law of attraction, okay? But anyway, hopefully this helps. If you like the video, like it below, share it, follow it, hit the subscribe button. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.